Today's video is sponsored by RoboPack, the trend-setting solution for in-tune packaging and third-party patch management, and it's free for SMBs and NGOs. Visit them today at robopack.com. So you think you know Microsoft Outlook? Well, in this episode, I'm going to check out my top 10 amazing features that are hidden within Microsoft Outlook, features that will simply change your life. Hey everyone, Andy here. Microsoft Outlook is a product that is constantly changing and evolving, and it's an integral part of Microsoft 365, but it can be extremely frustrating at times. So in this episode, I'm going to take a look at my top 10 kind of hidden features within Outlook, features and tools that will make such a difference to you and your daily work lives. Now, if you haven't subscribed, I would love you to come on board. Bump the subscribe button up there and ring that bell and come and join us. And if you want more, why not consider signing up to my Patreon site? Just there, you'll get access to full Microsoft courses, monthly Zoom calls, and so much more. Okay, comments, questions, as always, get those down below and I'll do my best for you. So I think without any further ado, let's jump in and take a look at my Outlook Top 10. So first up is probably one of my favorite ones and traditionally known as an OOF or out of office message reply. Microsoft call it an automatic reply and it can be found in the General tab. And this is super easy. So turn on automatic messages, simply add your message in, and you can then choose to either send replies outside of your organization, which is typically what you would do. You can also send an additional message for people within your organization or contact information. And of course, you can format this and add anything that you want to. You can also set a specific time period, so when you want the message to appear to and from and including the date and time. And you can do other things like block the calendar automatically, cancel any meeting requests and so on. But I have to tell you that it's definitely one of those things you're going to need to know. So that's my automatic replies or out of office message. Up next is one of my favorites, and it's super simple to do and it can just make you look so much more professional. I'm going to come into either view settings here in Outlook on the web or in the rich client version. If you click on Outlook and go into preferences, there's a big button that says email signatures. Here though, I'm going to click onto the settings, compose and reply, and I'm going to create a new signature. So here I just give it a name, so I'm just calling it Sig1, and you paste in your signature. Now this can include hyperlinks, it can include graphics, you can align the text. I tend to create them in Word and then copy and paste them. Now that I've done that, I simply click on Save and my signature is now created. Now below you can choose how you want to implement the signature. So in this case I'm setting my default options as Sig1 and there we go. Now just another quick tip while we're here, if you scroll down there is a really useful option here. Again, super simple but really important. This is the undo send option. How many times have you sent an email and go, oh my goodness, I didn't mean to do that? Well, here you've got the undo send option here, and you can essentially set this for up to 10 seconds. So 10 seconds from the point that you click on send, you can pull that message back. It just means it's going to delay that message before it goes out of your outbox before it's actually delivered. So again, really, really useful. And again, a really nice tip. So there we go. Email signatures and the undo send option. Now for this next one, you can't actually do this in Outlook, but you can do it in Microsoft Exchange for your users. Simply go into Recipients in Exchange and go into Mailboxes and select the mailbox that you want to manage. I'm going to go into Adele here and I'm going to click onto her mailbox settings, and you'll notice a couple of things. First of all, the message size restrictions is set to 35 megabytes for both sending and receiving. Personally, I don't think that's enough. So I can click onto the change this option here, and you can essentially change it up to 150 megabytes for free. Okay, so it doesn't cost you absolutely anything. Your users can use this, and you can just simply save those settings. So if your users, let's say for example, are involved in a project and you need larger attachments, then this is absolutely fantastic. And you can set this up for both send and receive. There you go. So this next one, you can easily miss it. I'm going to send a new email, and I'm just going to paste this email in. This is my other admin account and my other tenant. And I'm going to put in a subject here of let's have a meeting. Okay, and you can put in a little message. So just this is a message. Okay. Now, next thing you would normally do is you would normally just click send. However, we now have a drop-down arrow here, which means I can actually schedule this. So I can come in, I can say, hey, when do you want to actually send this message? So it gives you some options, but of course, you can customize this as well. So I can say, hey, I might want to send this, let's say tomorrow, let's say on the 3rd, and I might want to send it at 10 a.m. So I can click on send, and that message has now been sent. But has it? No, it hasn't. In fact, if I go into send items, you'll notice that it's not actually been sent. It's actually gone to drafts. Now, here it will stay until tomorrow at the assigned time, and then it will be released. That's pretty cool, don't you think? There you go. How to schedule an email. So one of the most common things that a user will want to do is likely create a contact list or distribution list. Again, Outlook makes this super easy to manage. Simply go into the people pane. Now I'm often asked, Andy, what's the difference between doing it in the people pane or doing it in the groups pane? Well, it doesn't really matter, because if you click in, you've got new contact, but if you click onto the drop down arrow, it says new contact list, or a new group. So what's the difference? Well, a new contact list is simply that. It's a list of contacts. Whereas if you clicked on new group, this is a Microsoft 365 group. And essentially the keyword here is collaboration. So it's a shared mailbox. You get a document, a shared document library, almost like a OneDrive for business between you, and you get Planner as well as other features as well. So again, a big difference. Now, depending on your license, this may not be available to you. So for a contact list, again, super simple. I simply say, okay, how do you want to arrange them by first, last name, surname, company, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say, yeah, I want to create a new contact list. And as I say, a contact list doesn't have any of the collaborative features that a group would have. So I'm going to just call this my sales contacts. And again, I can find an email address. So I can add in Adele, I can add in Miriam, and I can add in Isaiah. Now, of course, these can be people also outside of your organization. I can put in a quick description. And of course, the key thing is, what do you want to call it? Again, you might want to keep it something simple. So if I just said, for example, sales 1 here, and if I click on create. So I've gone ahead, I've created my sales 1. And now if I simply go back to my Outlook folder, I'm going to create a new email message, and I'm going to say sales. And as I start to type in sales 1, you'll see that my contact list now appears. And that's it. That's how you create a distribution list or a contact list. Super simple. So up next is the topic of compliance, and this is super important. Now, Microsoft Purview here is Microsoft's compliance portal, which contains a whole number of different solutions when it comes to compliance. And one of those, if I just scroll down a little bit, is something called data lifecycle management. Now, again, if you, for example, had tax records, you would need to keep these for 7 years and so on. So an administrator can come in here and they can create retention labels and then assign them to policies. And this is the modern way of doing it. So you would create a policy which contains a number of labels. And depending on the sensitivity of that object or the compliance issues with it, so how long you need to keep it, you can then assign that label. You'll also notice here that we have exchange legacy policies as well. And by default, you get a default mailbox retention policy, which contains a number of what we call retention tags. And you can see I've got quite a few of these in this example. So how do we set this up once it's been configured by an administrator? Again, it couldn't be more simple. Simply come into the mailbox here, and I'm going to click onto the gear icon again. This will bring me into the settings menu. And if I just scroll down, you'll notice that we have retention policies. And in fact, those retention policies that have been published, this is where they will appear. Now, if you have the appropriate rights, you can also go in and you can create your own retention policies here as well. So once you've configured those, assigning a policy is really simple. Simply right-click the message, scroll down, and you can see that it says Advanced Options at the bottom, and assign the policy, and you can choose which of these options you want to set. And there you have it, retention labels in Microsoft Outlook. Now, occasionally features come along and you think, oh my goodness, what did I ever do without that? In the old days, we used to create simple things called macros. And obviously life in the cloud is a very different beast to having physical machines. But what we have here is this feature in Outlook Online. It's called Quicksteps. And Quicksteps absolutely rocks. So I can simply create, let's say, a brand new Quickstep. I'll call it Q1. And I can choose an action, and you can choose things like moving files, copying, deleting, changing the status of messages, tagging documents, things like forwarding messages to somebody, replying with a meeting, and so on. This is absolutely, it rocks. It seriously does. So for an example here, I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to say, hey, I want to move this, let's say, to my archive. So I'm going to click on my archive here. You can put in a little description here, but obviously what you want to do is now assign a shortcut. And you can see that we have a number of shortcuts here. So Control, Shift, and 5 will then move whatever message or messages that I select into the archive. So I'm just going to click on Save. That's it done. Now I'll just simply scroll down, select a message, and I'm going to just do Control, Shift, and 5, and you can see that that message has now gone. And in fact, if I just come up here into the archive, sure enough, there you go. That's the Quicksteps feature in Outlook Online. Okay, so up next I'm coming to calendars here, and I just want to show you a few things. Now, in this example, we have lots of meetings and my calendar is pretty squashed up. So I might want to expand on this and take a look at the week view. Now, you'll notice here that the time is in different increments, and I'm often asked, can I customize this? Absolutely, you can customize this. So in other words, of course, you want it in blocks of 60 minutes, 15, 30, 10, and you can even go in 5 minutes if you really want that. So if I move to 60 minutes, you can see that you get less detail. And likewise, you can also expand it back to 30 minutes and get more detail if you want to. Now, another thing that you can notice here is that we've got the single time here. What if you travel? I mean, I travel a lot with my job. So we can go in and edit time zones here. And for example, this week I'm in Oslo here. I can say, hey, I might want to go ahead and add another time zone. So I'll say, Seattle, and I'll say Seattle, Washington, and I can add a time zone, so SEA, and you can actually have up to 3 time zones as well. And the last thing that you'll notice is you also have the capability to add in a global calendar as well. So again, different countries, different areas of the world might use something like that. So there you go. That is creating different time zones. So again, super useful. And now you can see that we've got those two time zones. I've got Seattle and Oslo. Really cool, huh? So up next, you can see that I'm actually working with two different tenants here, and I've just received an email from my administrator colleague in my other tenant. Now, at the moment, there's no way to really differentiate this user from all my other emails. What you can do is I'm going to come up to the gear icon here, and in the general menu, we have something called conditional formatting. This absolutely rocks. So again, I can save, well, first of all, give it a name. So I'll just call it Demo 1. So give it a name. I'm going to choose the condition. So if the condition is from, or if it's to, or contains a subject, I'm going to choose who it's from. I'm going to say, yep, it's from my colleague in the other tenant. And in this case, I can add another condition. So I can do if, and, or else. So it's from this user and the subject is this. As an example, I might want to choose a different color completely. So in this example, I'm going to choose, let's say green. So, and now I click OK. I've named the rule, and you can now see all I do is save. So now that rule is now active. And sure enough, now you can see that the subject has gone green, and this clearly differentiates it from my other users. So that is an example, my friends, of conditional formatting. Very cool. Now this final one is specifically targeted for administrators. And in my opinion, it's the one setting that will really make a difference for the security and safety of all of your users. I've come into Microsoft Defender, and you can find this within the portal. You just simply come into the security portal from Microsoft 365. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come down to email and collaboration. If I scroll down, I'm coming to policies and rules, and I'm going to hit threat policies. Now, most customers, most Microsoft 365 users will get things like anti-spam, anti-phishing. Now, if you've got an E5 subscription with Enterprise Mobility and Security, if you've got Business Premium, you get access to these. And these are two settings that you definitely need to switch on. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to create a safe attachments rule. And I'm in Oslo this week, so I'll just call this Oslo 1. And I'm going to say next. And you can target this to users, groups, and or your entire organization. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target it just at a few demo users just now. So I've got Alex in here. I've got Alan. I've got Captain Kirk. I'm a big Trekkie, of course. So let's just say, for example, I'm targeting this policy at those particular users. So I'm going to click on next, and you've got three options. Actually, you've got four options. Keeping it off, of course, doesn't scan the attachment, or you can monitor it, and this might be useful for a security operations center. You can block it completely, so block this and future occurrences of the attachments, or you can use this one, and I really like this. This is dynamic delivery, and what this does is it basically delivers the message but without the attachment, and it then places the attachment in a sandbox, and it scans it for any malicious code, whether it's executable, whether it's making registry calls, and so on. If everything's benign, it then reattaches the message and you'll be notified. So in my opinion, that is just one option that you definitely want to go and set that up with. Okay, that's what we call safe attachments. So my last topic is safe links, and again you can find these in threat policies, and you can see I've targeted the same three users again. This time, Microsoft monitor billions of active links every day. So we're talking about web links, we're talking about links in chat messages, in email. So for example, if it's an adversary in the middle attack or anything like that. And this will just save you so much heartache against obviously your user clicking on one of these malicious links. So if the user sees a red link, this obviously indicates that the link is malicious. And if they see a yellow link, it's being currently tested. And any red links, of course, will be blocked. I gotta tell you though, safe links, safe attachments, switch it on, guys. You will save yourself so much heartache. So available E5 and also Business Premium. So there you have it, my top 10 Microsoft Outlook goodies. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. It does help. And if you've not subscribed, come on board. Come and join us. I'll see you next time. You take care. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy. And while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.